Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in right now, we are becoming our greatest possible selves together. We got Evan Dolezal coming on here in just a bit, and we're going to rock the house. Before that, though, let's talk about the quick sponsor message, and it's brought to you by this 12-hour marathon is brought to you by Burn Up Coaching Inc., our coaching company, as well as the 21-day challenge. If you're an entrepreneur, high achiever, you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or you're lost, or you just want more fulfillment in your life, you want to reignite, you want to increase your belief, your passion, your purpose, reignite your presence, and really dial in what is your platform, what's the message that you're getting out to the world. I love to do that with people. Can't do necessarily all of that in the 21-day challenge, but we'll definitely make some big steps towards getting crystal clear on your big dreams, breaking them down into bite-sized steps, and having a daily routine so you can take massive freaking action. If you're interested and ready, send me a message to find out more about the 21-day challenge. And you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/th3burns, or message me email, chris@beyourgps.com. Looking forward to hearing from you and talking to you about the 21-day challenge. Next up is going to be the iTunes review of the week. This week it's by Human Flame, and Human Flame says, "It gets you going." That's right, we do. GPS, the fire is lit. Thanks, Chris, for your energy and positivity that you bring. Love what you are bringing to the table. Thanks so much, Human Flame. I appreciate you. And if you want to give us a review, you're listening or you're watching right now, definitely let's make it happen. Go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store, and rate, review, subscribe, keep tuned in to the GPS message, and let us know how we can serve you even better. Cool? Cool. Awesome. So I'm going to introduce Evan in just a minute here. Before that, make sure you grab a pen, grab paper, be ready to take notes, because this guy's story and journey and life is truly igniting, and you want to catch that fire. You want to catch the momentum that he is exuding and is all around him, because his community that he's in, Life by Design, Stephen De La Cruz, all these amazing human beings, and Les Brown he's meeting with, just like Evan is on fire. So you definitely want to stay tuned, because this interview is going to be gold, and I'm super duper excited. So let's introduce him, and then we will bring him on the screen. Evan is an up-and-coming visual storyteller who has personally filmed legends, including Les Brown, his son, Les Brown Jr., and even Floyd Mayweather. Bam. All because he pursued his passion and leaned into mentorship. And that's all we have for this intro, because he is a man of not needing many words, because he's epic. Evan, are you ready to rock this, bro?
I'm ready, man. Epic intro. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome, dude. Ever since you and I got connected, and with Petya, and it's just been awesome, man. Really admired what you were doing, just showing up, working your butt off, staying aligned, and doing the work, man. I think that's the most important part, meeting and connecting and greeting, expanding your network so you can really deliver your gifts in the biggest capacity. I'm super, super proud of your growth over the last few months, and just what you're stepping into, man, the greatness. It's really awesome.
Thank you. Ever since I did meet you, I think what was it? We met on a networking app initially.
Yes.
But we hit it off right away, and I don't know. Normally I try to keep my calls down about 15 minutes, just kind of get like boom, boom, boom. But you and I stood on that phone for, I don't know, maybe like an hour or so. It's just like your energy just exuberates. It's just contagious. And you and Petya are great together. I love seeing you guys. I love talking to you guys. I really appreciate you bringing me here onto your show.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. We're going to have a blast. So, Evan, let's dive right into the theme of the day, which is remembering how to have fun. So how does this play a role in your life, remembering how to have fun?
Chris, I'm going to tell you, so I come from a marketing background. So I started doing Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all things marketing, because I was chasing the money. I was chasing the hot thing of the day, right?
Yep.
And it wasn't until I started doing video ads to cut down on my ad spend that I found my true passion, which is the arts. It's leaning into video. And now every day I pick up a camera. Every day I'm sitting at my computer doing editing. Every day I'm out selling or building this business. I'm having fun, man. Yeah. It's all about fun. And now I love it. And I've never been more successful since I decided to do that.
Dude, I love it. I love it. So I want to dive into, how that transition happened in just a bit. And just so everyone knows, tell us a little bit more about your, your film business and what you're doing with this raw media, and just tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah. So the thing is that I didn't intend on building a business. I I think every entrepreneur goes through those phases. I've done vending. I've kind of done quite a bit within the entrepreneur realm. And I really hit a point over the last year that said, do I really want to be an entrepreneur? And I think that's a valid question for anyone who's actually doing it. Really consider, do you really want to do it? Do you really want to be putting out the fires? Do you really want to be representing yourself consistently and closing sales and developing constantly? And so I hit that phase. And so initially I wanted to just find someone to work for. I knew that I wanted to be in video, right? I knew that that's what I wanted to do. The thing is that because of my network and my connections and just my innate ability to do it, my talent for it, people started getting a lot of attention and traction. And so initially people wanted me to start their YouTube channels and help them with editing. And I was doing it on iMovie. And then, it just one thing led to another to where now it's just so much easier for me to build a business than it is for me to go and work for someone. I find more clients attracting to me than I do actually going out and finding people who want to hire me to do video. And so that's how this is happening. And now I'm starting to bring on employees and really starting to grow and working for some big names and big brands far faster than I ever thought I would.
Damn, that's incredible, man. Congratulations. Like I said, I'm super proud of you, your growth, just really finding your stride, and it took work. It took like tons of working on yourself, showing up in the right place at the right time, surrounding yourself with brilliant people. So let's go back into the journey and talk about like, where did it really start beginning for you? The marketing, the kind of humble beginning, so to speak, of where did you start knowing that you were meant for more and stepping into your greatness?
So about a year ago, I was in a different place. So I was doing bartending. I was bartending and serving. I've always been in those customer service roles and a little bit of selling in between, trying to start different businesses and whatnot. But it wasn't until I found a community. So I found a community, and the name of them is Stegela. And if you haven't heard of them, look them up. Amazing people. And I was under the direct mentorship of this man named Steven De La Cruz. And I call him like the Filipino gangster. Like this guy, he's a genius at business. He's a genius at business. Yes, but he is a very hardcore man. And the way that he mentors me is on a hardcore standard. Yeah. But that's what I needed. I was stubborn. And the number one thing he said to me, he said, Evan, he said this to me on occasion. He goes, Evan, you're too prideful and you're uncoachable. He said that to me too many times. And I was prideful, thought I knew everything, and I was not being coachable. All he looks for is someone who is faithful, available, and teachable. Fat. He wants someone to be fat. And I was not fat. Okay, I was getting fat, but my ego was fat, but I wasn't personally fat.
Wow.
So over the last year, I've been hammered and gone through a boot camp of mentorship directly, and I've flopped on my face. I've built a marketing company. I didn't really know what I was doing or who I was, and that was a lot of it. A lot of it, really, honestly, Chris, is finding yourself and development. Development is key. Once you have development, then you'll start to gain momentum because you'll have a system, a value system, a structure to go and build off of. So I'd say that's the biggest thing that really changed over the last year is finding someone to coach me and then building into a network of people that are performing it at a higher level than me. Surrounding myself with smart, intelligent, loving, and positive people because I was sure negative. I was pure negativity. Over a year ago, find every flaw in everything.
I can't even imagine it, man. You're so like happy and carefree today, and even on our call, you're positive. That was like 6 months ago or something. You're still super happy, man.
There's nothing good in negativity, nothing at all. Positivity is key in all aspects, and just knowing that you're gonna fail sometimes. Just keep going. So. Always keep going and make sure you have a support system. Clean up your surroundings. Yeah. Make sure it's going to foster growth and positive growth. Yeah. And people building into you. So,
was it difficult for you to change your environment?
Yes, very difficult. Yeah. I loved going out to the bars after work. I loved going out in weekends, and I was an avid video game player. Yep. I would play, if I had a day off, I'd play 10 hours a day. I'd sit at my computer. I loved it. My game was World of Warcraft. That's what I would sit and I would communicate with people. I'd be drinking on the games, having a good time. And, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't progressing me anywhere. Yeah. So it was hard to let that go. And it's, and it had deep roots in me. And I call these things called triggers, right? Mm-hmm. So like my old house, even when I left that, all the triggers, because I would spend hours there sitting on my couch, and I was engaged previously and that relationship kind of ended bad. So there was always those like triggers whenever I was in my house. Once I changed my environment, changed my friends, then I built new triggers in the positive aspects. And once I started to do that and get away from all the old things, then it just kind of rolled into where now my life is this. Now it's positive. Now it's grind and hustle and build and love and peace and all that, awesome stuff.
I love it, man. You've transformed like so fast, that's incredible. And Steven said that you weren't coachable, you weren't like open to it. What transformed you to be like open to the coaching, and how do you recommend others take on that level of coachability?
So I thought that there's pieces where I was like, you're controlling me. Like, you're telling me what to do. Like, stop it. I want to have my freedom. And I always said, you're manipulative. And he goes, what do I have to gain from you? And I'm like, I'm broke. I don't have anything going for me. I have nothing to give you. You're right. You have nothing to gain from me. Nothing at all. And so, but here's where the biggest thing was. Is that I looked at him and I go, Steven, you've had a mentor since you were 16 years old. And every day he still talks to his mentor. Wow. And that mentor has changed his life, and he submits to that mentor. Like, he listens, he's faithful, he's available, he's teachable. Yep. His mentor is a huge part of everything that Steven is. So who am I to say that I don't need to listen and have a mentor too if I want to be successful? So once I understood that, and I understood him doing it, then I let go of my pride and leaned into the fact that he only wants to help me. And that he always says, whoever your mentor is who you're going to become. That's what he was told when he was 16 years old. And so he chose the richest guy he knew. And he has become that. And so once I leaned into that, I understood that if I listen to him and do what he says, and know that he's out there for my best interests, that I'll become like him. And nothing is, more true than that statement right there.
Wow. How do you recommend someone who is wanting to find a mentor? How do they identify and select and be accepted by someone who's wealthy and affluent and successful?
First of all, it's really hard to navigate terrain that you yourself have not gone through. So it's vital that you find someone who has traversed that path to guide and lead you. It just makes a lot more sense. Now there has to be a value exchange, right? There always has to be, because anyone who's successful knows that it needs to be a direct return. Anything they do, right? So Steven taught me every dollar I spend needs to have a return. So if I buy a Ferrari, how's that going to make me more money? Right? If I buy a house, how's that going to make me more money? And that's how you got to change your thinking, your spending. When that comes to a mentorship, right? So you got to get rid of that poverty mentality. So everyone needs a mentor. It's just non-negotiable. You know that we need that. Secondly, once you're open to it, then you got to be able to go out and look, right? And there's a lot of coaching programs and all of that out there these days. There's a million business coaches. But the thing is that you want to find someone who's already, like I said before, traversed the path, has the success, has the results that you want, because you will become like the person who mentors you. So if that person doesn't have any businesses or anything like that, then that's what you're going to become like, right? So for Steven runs 10 corporations passively. Most of the day he's napping. That's why he's branded as the lazy millionaire. Come to me and I'll teach you how to make passive businesses that are all profiting over 7 figures. And he's like, schedule meetings with me because I'm napping most of the day, which he is. I kicked him out of his office so I can do this instead of with the lighting, because he taught me excellence, right? He taught me excellence. So I put lighting and I'm in here with our studio and all of that because I don't want anything less. And so you get out there. And once you find someone who has the results, then it's okay. Then what am I going to provide in return? So if you're going to go and do work for them directly in exchange for mentorship, that's great. I applaud you on that because you learn a lot. But don't expect your mentor to have you work for them forever. Any good mentor knows that they want to build you and flourish, because it's like building into a legacy or anything like that, or taking a percentage. I don't know, whatever. That they're just smart, brilliant business people.
Right.
But Steven is very highly recommended. Everyone loves his coaching. You've seen our group. Everyone is amazing. Our staff, everyone that works for him, everyone that works with him, and the people that he's built up. So if you're interested, I don't know if I'm allowed. Can I plug how we can get in contact with Steven? Yeah. Cool. So I would invite you guys to check out our events. Add me online, Evan A. Dolezal, Dolezal, and I'll get you connected to all of our events, or go to mastermindsd.com and schedule a meeting, one-on-one meeting with Steven, or come in and attend our events. So,
hell yeah. Dude, they're awesome. You guys are kicking butt over there. So I want to talk a little bit more about the strengths that you have developed because of, surrounding yourself with these powerhouse people and mentorship. Like, what did you learn about the power of strengths and playing to your strengths and leaning into those strengths?
So I've heard it by multiple influencers like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, talk about tripling down on your strengths. And, I never personally, my strength has always been in the arts. Mm-hmm. But I had this limiting belief that most people can relate to called the starving artist mentality. So I believe that if I was going to be an artist of any sort, that I would be starving, right? Because I wouldn't know how to sell it. It's oversaturated. There's a billion video makers, but nothing's further from the truth. Because once you learn how to do business and you lean into your strength, your passion and your belief in what you are selling is what's going to carry you to success. So before, when I was doing marketing, I was good at it, but I didn't believe in it. I had limiting beliefs because I didn't love it. I didn't love doing it. And so my energy wasn't contagious, right? So I had a hard time trying to sell it all the time. But when I switched into something that I was passionate about, people started coming to me because they see my energy, they see my passion for it, and my passion is going to deliver the results that they're going to want. Yeah. And I'm grateful that I went the path that I did, Chris, because if I didn't start learning business before leaning into the arts, it would have been a whole different story. I might have been a starving artist. But I learned how to run a business. I learned what to do, how to sell. And then once I got into something that I was passionate about, I'm able to crush it. And I'm moving faster than I can even keep up.
What would you say were the distinctions that you learned about business and running a business that helped you really thrive the most?
The biggest thing is just get going. Yeah. For one, get going. So many people think you have to have all your ducks in a row first, right? If you have a Venmo account and you have the ability to deliver a product, go and do it. Yeah. Brand as you go. I'm still building my website. I don't even build my website yet. I'm going to do that, and I just closed another deal today and one yesterday. So I'm already getting business and I haven't even branded yet. So I half-assed created my Facebook page. So I need to do that. Don't get me wrong. Branding is very important. Very, very important. But you don't need all your ducks in a row. That's for one. Number one, get out there and get selling. Sell, always. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if someone's afraid to sell, I'll be like, I'm going to sell your business. I'll pick up the phone. I'll try cold calling people. I don't care. Yeah. Just to show you, just get out there and do. Do is the biggest thing. Learn as you go and find a mentor, someone or anything that's going to teach you how to build and structure, but don't overthink.
Damn. That's powerful. So doing is essential. Taking the actions. Without that, the business doesn't exist. And especially for entrepreneurs, they have the biggest challenge in selling themselves or their products, and they get into analysis paralysis, and they just overcomplicate the heck out of everything. And so the biggest breakthrough for that is just go freaking take some action. Go pick up the phone. Go offer yourself and your services to people who need it.
Exactly. If you can't sell it, if you're not out there selling it, then you don't believe in it. And you need to rethink about what you're doing.
Wow.
Honestly, you need to believe that what you're providing is something that they really need, and that it would be a disservice for you not to give it to them because you're going to do it better than anyone else can.
And what happens if people don't feel like they're at that level of confidence or belief?
If you don't have that kind of confidence, then like I said, you need to rethink what you're doing. You need to convince sell yourself first. Yeah. Sell yourself first on what you're selling, and then go and sell. If you don't have the confidence, and I'm not saying don't do it, because there's this quote that I like to use by James Malinchak. we're talking about writing a book, right? Everyone's like, oh, I kind of want to write a book. Well, some people write a book and it's a shitty book. And so he goes, my shitty book is better than your no book, which is true, right? It is.
Yes.
Okay. So even if your selling sucks, at least my shitty sales and you might close is going to be better than no sales. So just get out there and you'll start to believe and gain confidence in yourself. And sometimes that is the thing. It's just you're not confident in yourself. So it's maybe you believe in your product, but you just have no confidence yourself. How do you learn it? I'm going to tell a little story. Is that okay? Just really quickly. Okay. So I love to box. I'm a boxer, right? I'm just recently getting back into it again. And one of the reasons why I like it is because there's nothing in life that teaches you bravery and courage as much. I'm not going to say like joining the military and all that. Yes, obviously. But there's something about getting punched in the face or punching someone in the face that just takes fear out of a lot of other things in your life. Wow. So when you first start boxing, you'll sit and you'll go in your classes, you'll learn what you're doing, you'll get taught, right? You'll learn the technique. And then you'll go to your first sparring match. And this is what always happens, Chris. It doesn't matter how many classes you take, how good your technique is, how good your defenses are. When you get into that first sparring match and someone starts throwing punches at you for real, you go into a Street Fighter mode. You lose all of your technique and you just start just throwing and brawling, right? Because all of that goes out the window. Okay. Yeah. And you might get beat up like, 4 or 5 times, whatever. But eventually you're going to start to block. Eventually you're going to start to keep your hands up at your face after you've taken a bunch of punches to the face, right? Eventually you're going to start blocking. Eventually you're going to start moving your head and you're not going to sit there anymore. Eventually you're going to start learning how to defend. Yeah. And then once you learn how to defend, you're going to start to attack, right? And then you can control the fight because you have confidence, right? You know how to defend against things, and then you know how to retaliate and go back, and attack. And so a lot of things in life is you just got to learn and get out there and spar. It doesn't matter if you sit here and you go through an entire online course, right? And then you're not going to go out there and kill it. You're not going to go out there and get it your first time. You're going to go your first sales. You're going to suck probably. You're going to suck maybe on your first job. Yeah. But you're going to learn how to defend and get past that stuff, and then you're going to learn how to attack and crush it. But you have to get out there and spar it first.
Dude, what a great analogy. I love it because I think it's when you have that danger, right? That imminent danger. So many people are just resistant to even getting into the danger, quote unquote danger, the rejection, the fear that the subconscious mind brings up. And putting yourself in an intentional situation like boxing or whatever kind of martial arts where you have someone who's like really trying to beat you up, coming for you, you got to shift into a different instinct and a different like energy of fighting, defending, attacking, offending, whatever it might be. Like you got to just be able to shift into that rapidly and while keeping your cool and knowing that, hey, it's the more I stress out and get overwhelmed and overthink this, the more likely I'm going to get hit and get my ass beat.
Hey, and you know what? There's a lot of people that get in there and they get beat up that first round and they don't go back. They go back and they sit in the courses, right? They go back to the class and they're like, that's not for me. I just want to be here for the workout. And then they never learn how to actually fight, how to actually compete. And that's what their dream was. Wow. They give up on it and they sit in courses forever, right? For 3 years, 4 years, they're paying for this membership just to work out. That's not what they came there for, but that's what they're there for now because they gave up. And so how many people have we seen, or even me, who's gone through a course, tried it and been like, this is, I don't know. Maybe I need more training. So I just sit through more courses and more courses, sit through more seminars. Yeah. And then I never start anything, right? And then I'm fully branded. There's people too, like you start your business and you fully brand, right? And then you find the flaws after and you're like, well, what the hell? And then you got to start over. Like, just build as you go. Just get out there and do it. Point of story. That's it.
Dude, that's
build
awesome.
As you go.
That's awesome. Yeah. So do you plan on doing like more sparring, more like official matches? I know you mentioned you're just getting back into it. What do you see as your future for boxing?
Yeah, that's my goal. So my goal, I went to this gym. I picked it out specifically because I want to compete. That's always been my goal. I've been boxing since like 2012. on and off, and I've done a lot of sparring and all that, but I've never actually competed, never committed completely to doing that. So from day one, I got into that ring and I got beat up quite a big amount of shape. So I couldn't keep up with everyone, but I was in there punching and getting punched. I don't care, whatever, it's whatever now to me. But my goal is to compete, because there's something about, like I said, getting in there, getting punched and punching back, that just radically starts to impact other parts of your business and your life.
Wow, I love it. I love it, man. So we've talked about really surrounding yourself with the powerhouse community, right? Mentors, just a community of powerful, high-achieving people. We talked about those instincts, really putting ourselves in the action, doing it until we, build the confidence. Because I love what you said. My crappy sales are better than the no sales that somebody else is like, they're praying for their big win, their windfall, whatever it might be. So I really love what you're saying there. Are there any other big fundamentals that have made a difference for you on your journey?
Yeah. There needs to be a coach in your corner too, for sure. So going back to boxing, there's got to be someone coaching you, someone leading you, someone who has an outside perspective. And that's been key. I've had situations where, I'm sitting there and even to this day, I'm a lot more positive, but sometimes I'll just be downright negative. Right. Yeah. And it takes one of my friends in my office to go, Evan, what's wrong with you? And that's a nice way of saying it. Be like, but they're going to reach out and be like, what's going on? And then I'll talk about it, and it's really not that big of a deal, and just change my perspective. So I have a strong team and foundation, and biggest key, network. Don't burn bridges. Get out there and network. Meet people, because you don't know where that's going to take you. Honestly, you have no idea who's connected to who and how that's going to leverage your brand or, lead you anywhere to really cool stuff. So
say more about don't burn bridges, because I think we have an idea of what that means, but in your own experience, tell us a little bit more about how that lesson came about, or, why it's important.
Yeah. So you don't want to let your pride and your ego get in the way. I firmly believe in always building other people up before you, because it's just going to serve you a lot more. So whenever you have conflicts or anything, everything can be resolved. So communicating, one of my biggest flaws is communication. So I'm trying to really work on that, being more communicative, but I never leave a bridge burned. So I always come back and try to resolve any situation. And there's not one person to this day where I haven't come back and resolved an issue in our relationship. Just because I've just believed that no matter what, that could always come back and lead you to something else. So, and people, you're nothing without people. That's just bottom line. If it was you on this world alone, what do you have? Just yourself. You always need people.
Damn. That's powerful. I'm curious, because my business partner is always about speaking the fiery truth, right? And in that, the it might offend people. They might quote unquote hate you today, but love you forever, because they needed to hear that the perspective that we have of what's really going on, what's the truth versus the story that they're telling themselves. Is there a graceful way? Is there always a way to do that, without offending someone or turning them off or repelling them and getting them pissed off? Because I've had a challenge with that, because I always want to leave people uplifted, and sometimes I've seen that, hey, the way it can be done is maybe not the best way, or not the way that I would do it if I was attempting to preserve the relationship, so to speak.
So there's two things that if you can master these two things, in which I'm trying to master, and what I've noticed from everyone I've talked to of highly successful people, there's two things that matter. That's mastering your sales and mastering politics. If you can master those two things, you can accomplish anything. Wow. And so to answer your question, it comes down to politics, because no one changes unless they're receptive to wanting to change.
Right.
So it depends on the person, Chris. If you go in, you be forthcoming and you tell them what they need to hear, and they're turned off and it does them a disservice, then that's on you, because you've offended them. Right. So what I'm trying to say is that politicians say like crazy things, but they sway audiences. You just really got, it depends on who you're talking to, right? You have to be you though, be you, but always put that other person's interest ahead of yours, because it's going to serve you more in the end. It's gaining that political favor, that political leverage, right, in any relationship. So my mentor, he doesn't believe in friends. Okay? He doesn't believe in friends.
Right.
So his saying is, lead me, follow me. You can't see my hand. I don't know where it is. Lead me, follow me, or get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's all politics.
Yeah.
And there's no emotion in it, but we're here to build everyone else up, right? So I don't know if that answered your question at all, but
yeah, no, it did. I think it definitely can be tricky and situational how to respond to that, and I think everything requires a different approach. Not every situation is the same. Sometimes you just you have to stand your ground and you not defend your value, but really own your value. And if someone's not seeing that, then how do you respond to those kinds of people who might be trying to take advantage, or another situation might be completely different, and it might be hey, I want to teach you what you did that totally doesn't work, and you might be offending or hurting other people, so I want to educate you, kind of thing. So it's the energy, I think, and intentionality of how do I want to leave this person after I'm done. And I think that there's always a resourceful way to do it where you don't have to turn someone off. You can teach, you can educate, you can say, hey, listen, I love you. This might be a little bit difficult to hear, but here's what I noticed. Take it or leave it. This is just my feedback. Keep moving forward, versus rubbing their face in it and slamming the door, kind of thing.
Right. And I think the biggest thing too is just being able to drop pride too, because there's a lot of people that spit their knowledge, whatever that you read from your book or learned from your experience, and you're doing that just to leverage, look cool. I don't know what you're. There's a lot of people that spit knowledge when it's not the right time for it. You're not thinking about it. You're thinking about sounding good at what you're about to say. So is it really for your benefit or for their benefit? Because if they're not receptive, they're not going to listen, and they're going to have a negative reaction to what you're having to say. And don't get me wrong, if someone's self-harming or they're doing something horrible for their life, I'll absolutely out of love reach out to them. But if it's something that's not that huge of a deal and you're just going to say it so you seem smart or whatever it is, if it's a prideful thing, then you're not thinking of that person's best interest. And in my opinion, that's a terrible political move in general. Yeah. So yeah, pride is the downfall of everything. Pride and ego, kill it, smash it.
What's the distinction between pride and confidence, or self-worth and pride and ego?
So like I said, I'm a confident person, and so I think my pride a lot is you don't want to listen. You don't want to build other people up, or you want to seem like you're powerful or something that's really not. That's pride and ego. Okay. It's good to have confidence, but I think you need to be able to smash that and build others up first. You build others up first and they'll build you up. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but it's good to be confident, but it's not good to be prideful and ego. Yeah. So you want to build other people up more than yourself.
Beautiful.
Absolutely key. I spend most of my time complimenting people. I want you to feel good. Sales is all emotion. It's all emotion. I want you to feel good. I want to have that know, like, and trust factor with you. And I care more about that than elevating myself and looking cool in front of you. Who cares what I think? If I build you up, you're going to think I'm cool. You're going to think I'm awesome. You're going to love me. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So
that's gold.
Forget my own pride. I'll let you determine, my pride.
Yeah, and it's also branding, right? What people say about you after you leave the room. It's what other people think about you and say about you after you're gone. Not what you think, not what you say about yourself, but what others say about you. And if you're constantly having other people feel good, then that's the brand that you're going to have, and that's the reputation that's going to spread. And who wouldn't want everyone saying awesome things about themselves,
Right. At the end of the day, it comes down to what's the return on this anyway. So pride and ego gets you nothing. If that's what you want in life, go ahead and flaunt. Do whatever you want. Be as prideful as you want. If you're satisfied with that, but it's not going to get you anywhere. It has no ROI. ROI comes from building others up.
Damn. That's powerful, man. Powerful. I love it. So in your media company, what would you say are your core values that really have you show up as your best and have people recognize who you are and what you stand for?
So it's called raw media, and raw stands for my whys. So when we had deep breakdown of like why we do things, right? It came down to three core reasons why I want to do it. One is because I want to be respected. I was always that kid, respected, admired, and wanted. Those are my three whys. I was always that kid. I'm adopted. So I'm adopted. I was always like felt second to like any of my siblings, or I always slacked off in school and did all that. I just never lived like a very respectable life before. And so like that's always been my striving goal once I've really found myself a little bit, was to then earn that respect, admiration, and want. So I realized that those are my three whys. So I was like, okay, I'm going to call my company Raw. And it was Raw. It was Raw Marketing before, and then I just rebranded it into Raw Media. Yeah. So I'd say those are my core reasons why I do what I do and what I strive to do. And so in order to gain those, I need to provide excellence in everything I do. So even if it's sitting in this interview, put up lighting. If you come to any of our events, we have full production, even if there's 10 people there, we'll still have a microphone and full production. Okay. If there's one thing, my mentor has always pounded into me, excellence. Everything needs to be excellence. Always over deliver. Work as hard as you can, work ethic and excellence. So that's what I go for. And also to provide fuzzy, great feelings when you're working with me. I want you to feel good. I want you to be happy. I want the process to be enjoyable. I don't want it to just be a transaction. Wow. I want you to be like, dang, I'm really glad I hired that guy. He is one of my closest friends. Wow. But even though I don't really believe in friends, but just my mentor. But I definitely believe in relationships. So
I love it, man. I love it. And I'm curious, like, how did you discover that, the making people feel warm and fuzzy, that was important to you? Because I love that. It's like something, I don't really hear that often, is like having people feel squishy and like when you lift them up, then they want to keep you around. They feel amazing. I feel like you have really dialed into that and tapped into that. And a lot of people are lacking that, and they're making it about themselves, being the pride and the ego and all that stuff. So how did you discover that secret sauce?
So the people around me is one. And then I realized, okay, so if I want to be liked, what do I like? What makes me feel good? What makes others feel good? Watch and pay attention to what's happening around you, and then mimic those. If it's building, it's again, putting aside that pride and putting others first. I think that's the biggest thing. But have you ever sat in a seminar, right? And I love this because my mentor is excellent at it. So you sit in a seminar and you're listening to someone speak, and they're just building in all this hope and anticipation, right? You're like, oh my gosh, this product's amazing. You sit in there like James Malinchak, right? You sit listen to him, and you weren't even thinking of being a speaker. You didn't even think about it. And all of a sudden, 30 minutes into his presentation, you're like, man, I could be a speaker. I could do this. This would be amazing. I would feel great. And I have someone, oh man, I feel powerful, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, find yourself looking for $2,000 or whatever the sell is. And you're trying like, all right, how can I make this work? And you go to the back of the room, right? Because you feel good. You're like, I can do this. I can make this happen. I have that hope. Sales is all feeling. Everything that you buy is all feeling, right? Whether it's a feeling of wanting to get away from something, right? Like a gym, you're like, I don't want to be fat anymore, so I go to a gym. I guess necessarily you're not buying a gym membership because you feel good about it. You're buying it because you don't feel good in the current situation you're at. Right. The key word is feelings. So fuzzy feelings is what I want you to feel. I want you to feel good by hiring me. And so every conversation you have, everything that you're leading and priming in a sales topic needs to be leading towards whatever feeling you're trying to invoke, and then ask for the sale.
That's powerful, man. Is there any other powerful steps or milestones in the sales process that you make sure you hit or you achieve to create a successful sale?
Yeah. Make sure that you set a price that is where it's the value that you're going to deliver. Mm-hmm. Okay. So a lot of people, and this happens a lot with videographers, unfortunately, it's an expensive process, just because of the time. It's very time consuming. Yep. Sometimes you got to dump money into it. Your equipment costs a lot as it is. It's an expensive process to do video. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of videographers that just because it's saturated, they don't have confidence. They'll go and do work for free, or they'll do work for minimal cost, right? So they're not setting prices for themselves. And they don't know how to sit there and stick at that price whenever they're talking to someone, right? Like, I get it that you're bartering, but people will be like, oh, I can't afford $800 for your video. Well, then I'll shoot for you for 3 months for that price, and I'll drive you around everywhere you want to go. And you know what I mean? Like, you're just like laying in like all of these extra perks, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden I had one guy, people just don't really understand the cost of video too. So like an absurd amount of videos and for like a low price. When I run the numbers, it just ends up working out, on the average per video. And then it comes out to being like about 30 cents per hour when I did that. And so I educate them. I'm like, is that legal to you? Does that seem legal? Right? And it's like, no, that doesn't obviously doesn't seem like, we know the answer that working for 30 cents isn't legal, right. But you have to educate them on the price. So know your value, know what it's going to cost in the time, and then run the numbers to see what it is and set your price accordingly. And then stick to it, believe in it, stick to it and believe in it.
So what happens if people like try to object, or they have resistance, or they like won't budge on their idea of the price? Is it easy for you to just say, all right, well, it looks like you're not a customer, you're not an ideal client for me, I wish you the best? Or how does your process of either working with them or negotiating or getting them to raise their willingness to pay or sending them on their way, how does that work for you?
Well, if they're offering at a low price and they're not valuing you, one, you're not building into the pain enough. They got to need you and want you. Who has the power in the negotiation process? That is what my mentor taught me, because one of my first sales, he was listening. I told him what was happening, and he goes, what did he say? He called me a wuss, for lack of better, I don't want to use the word that he called me, because he was like, you just gave him all the power and now screwed over the sale. I was like, I know. I don't know why I did that. And so I went back and I renegotiated the sale. I said, listen, I can't do this at the price. I'm sorry, and I had to go back. It was awkward. It was really awkward. But there was one thing I really learned from that sale, is that there is zero emotions in sales. So I said build fuzzy feelings and emotion in the other person. Yeah. But you personally, when you're selling, no emotion. Have no emotion. You can't. You just have to stick with it and, stick firm with what you believe in, and not allow it to be an emotional roller coaster. Right. Because really, you're not offending anyone. And that's what I thought I was. I'm like, oh, well, maybe he's not going to like that, and it's going to be, it's going to be too much. I don't, like whatever excuses you're coming up with in your head, and just leaning into emotion. Get rid of the emotion, stick firm with what you're trying to do, and then see who has the power. Power is the biggest thing. Always be one step ahead of the other person.
And is that just through practice, or is it like mapping out the conversation of how it might unfold, and like just anticipating different places it can go?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say the biggest key is practice. You nailed that on the head. Yeah. Get out there and do it. I'm still trying to learn how to master it. Thank God I have an incredible mentor who's building into me in the sales aspect, because I couldn't sell anything. Even like 6-7 months ago, couldn't sell anything, right? So, but I'm getting out there every day. And I asked some of the people that are in our group yesterday, I said, when is the last time you closed a sale? Some of the people that I hang around with in their buildings, I'm like, when is the last time you closed a sale? And they're like, oh, a week ago. I'm like, you need to be out there closing every day. Yeah. Get out there and close every day, because there's something so satisfying about winning. When you win and you close those sales, you're like, oh my goodness, I feel great. You just want to go do it more. So.
Absolutely. I love this, Evan. What's the version of yourself that you see yourself aspiring to be like in, let's say, 5 years? 5 years from now, who do you want to be and be becoming 5 years from now?
Man. So my biggest thing is travel. I want to start traveling. And that's happening. I already got a flight booked. I'm going to Tampa. I don't know. Do you know who Forbes Riley is?
Yeah.
Have you heard of her? Cool. So I'm going to be doing editing for her. Awesome. So I'm going out to Tampa to visit her in early May and go through one of her sales training and all that. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten several other offers to start traveling around and shooting video content and all of that. So that's one of my biggest things. Secondly, I'm strategizing right now what my 5-year plan is with my mentor. I want to get into the investing side. So as I'm building this company and I'm starting to grow employees, it's like, okay, now what is going to be the scaling process and the branding? So in 5 years, I want this company to be established. I want it to be very well known, and I want to be in the event space is where I'm working towards. So my plan is try to make it into a passive income business. And that's the strategy I'm trying to build right now. That's what I'm working on. And we've only just begun and started tapping the source. But in 5 years, I want to be on the investment side of things. So that's what we're aiming for. We're working for where I want to be and deconstructing backwards.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I have a master at that. Mr. Dela Cruz, that guy, like I said, he spends most of his day napping. He's got so many investments in 10 plus multi-million-dollar corporations. So I think I'm pretty sure I can do that.
Yeah. just do what he says.
Yeah. So.
I love it, man. Awesome. What do you see as one of your biggest growth opportunities this year? You're building this raw media company. What do you see is like your growth edge? What you're going to be developing yourself in?
Wow. So I think the biggest thing, the biggest thing for this year, I think growing. He wants to. We're going to go to LLC, take it to an LLC, and really grow the company. He's taken my company basically and took total interest. So now I'm like following his plans completely.
Yep.
So this year is going to be very, very massive, very massive. I have gained so much momentum already. So I'm going to see a lot of growth over this next year. It's really coming as it goes. I don't have all the plans yet because things keep changing so often.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, it's super incredible what you've already achieved and all this momentum. I think that was the biggest thing that I noticed is huge momentum. And I think there's a lot of people out there who wish they had this kind of there's a certainty to you and a confidence that everything's working out, even though you may not see the whole path. You're just man, I'm gonna keep showing up and kicking ass because I got this. I got at least the next step or the next 2 or 3 steps together. So that's all I need.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, honestly, Chris, my mentor is a strategist. So I'm following, I have my visions and all that, but I haven't done it all before. So I have a guy who sees the big vision. He's a visionary, big visionary. So I'm very grateful to have him as my mentor and someone who is helping me because he sees what I don't see. So.
Powerful. So, wrapping up, if there was a final takeaway or thing that you want our audience to really get from this interview, let's recap if we've already touched on it, or if there was something else you really wanted to give to the audience. Let's go ahead and cover that now.
Okay. So I would say that my biggest takeaway is that don't limit yourself in the sense of whatever your passion is. If that's your passion, lean into it, lean hard into it, go into it. If you're good at it, if you're naturally good at it, whatever, lean into it. And don't let anyone say that you can't build it, because if you're passionate about it, people are going to sense that and they're going to come to you. Secondly, find people who are willing to build into you or grow you or lead you. So mentorship is key. Changing your environment is key. Because honestly, Chris, the reason why I've filmed for people like Floyd Mayweather or Les Brown or Forbes Riley is because of my network through Steven, right? So he believes in me. And so I get to tap into that network and that source. If it was just me, it would be so much harder to build it, regardless of my talent. right? So your network is key. So don't ever dismiss that. I don't think you need to be the lone hustler. There's no such thing as the lone wolf. Like everyone needs someone for something. So your network is key, leaning into your strengths, and just go do it. Do it. Bottom line, get out there and do it.
Just do it, baby. Awesome. Evan, this
Do
is
it.
amazing, man. How does our audience stay connected with you? They're loving this. They're inspired. What's the next steps they can take?
Yeah. So follow me, add me on Facebook, Evan, EVANADOLEZAL, Evan Dolezal. And Ev Dolezal is my Instagram handle. So EVDOLEZAL. Follow me. And then you can also reach out to me at rawmediasd@gmail.com. If you like how I have a Gmail account, I haven't even put it into like brand. Yeah. So, yeah. And then, definitely let's get connected. I want to get anyone who's interested into our events, get them plugged into the community. If you want to build a business and you don't know how, and you're looking to connect with people who are like you and trying to figure it out, or people who are performing higher than you, and so that you can leverage off of them, check out Stegela, Stegela, Stegela. It's Steven and Angela put together. Add us on Facebook, or go to mastermindsd.com.
Beautiful. Awesome. Evan, dude, you're a freaking powerhouse. Thank you for the golden wisdom you shared, and I'm stoked to see your journey unfold and the massive impact you're creating, man. And keep us posted if you guys create a Las Vegas branch of Stegela.
Yeah, we're talking about coming out to Vegas actually here in this month.
Oh, snap. Let's go,
yeah,
baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're coming out to Vegas this month. So I'll keep in touch with you and then see if we can meet up somewhere.
Awesome, man. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much for being here, Evan. Okay?
Definitely. Thanks for having me, Chris. You're awesome.
Dude, you're awesome. All right, take care.
Bye.